Good morning, my dear friends. Let me share with you a few observations about the preparation of an effective presentation. As all of us know, we have two different forms of presentation. One is the written form and the other one is the oral form. Of course, the written form is considered to be the finest artistic form of humanism and also the best skill of any human being. However, in this information era, because of the advancement of science and technology, the oral presentation also gains prominence. Today, both the forms are considered equally important to promote one's professional and even public life. In this context, let me relate the words of a famous Telugu poet, Mr. Balagangadhar Tilak, and also those of modern speakers. Once, Mr. Tilak says, a single idea that translates into a word can move the multi-million minds. This statement explains the power of written communication. Likewise, the speakers of modern era say a single idea that is spelled through a microphone can move a mega million minds. This statement explains the power of oral communication. See friends, both of these statements reinforce whatever its form may be. Communication is instrumental to inform, impress, or inspire the public to obtain such optimal feedback as passing the information very effectively or impressing or inspiring the public. Every presentation that aims at such feedback requires some preparation. This preparation can be of three different phases. The first one, prior to the presentation, second one, while presentation, and the third one, post to the presentation. Let us start with the first. Prior to the presentation is nothing but what kind of preparation one should do before going to deliver any presentation. The first and foremost step is choosing a good topic. Then, what's a good topic for us? Or what topic is really suitable to our presentation? This may be the question of many. As an answer to this question, the suggestion is to follow the expert's criteria. As we all know that science and academic matters are objective. Objective in the sense they won't allow any personal emotions or impressions. So, while choosing a theme, we should keep our personal emotions aside. Better not to choose any topic being influenced by someone's suggestion or recommendation. And also, we shouldn't choose any theme by thinking that it is a very interesting area. And also, shouldn't make any choice like by choosing this topic we can impact on many people. This kind of tendency on the part of communicator is not desirable and sometimes wholly unproductive. So better check before choosing the theme in which domain we have a wide range of knowledge or considerable experience, or in which domain we have a genuine interest and enthusiasm to carry out our study even so long time. Friends, following this criterion, decide on a theme and then put an apt title. Here, the apt title means the title which enables us to understand the scope of the theme so that we can discrete what must be included and what must be excluded from the scope of our theme. Likewise, the title should enable the reader or the listener to guess the possible contents of the theme. So, one must meticulously examine the title whether it is indicative of those important characteristics or not. Moreover, it's also important to keep in mind the narrower the area of the study, the more comfortable we can be to collect its relevant data. In fact, it saves a lot of our more valuable time, energy and even money. Let me explain how to prepare an appropriate title by giving an example. For example, think that we have taken up a title like the system of education in India. If you observe this title, the title suggests we have to collect the data about the system of education available in all the provinces of India. Really, it is a very acute task, maybe not meant for the individuals, maybe for the teamwork. That's why we have to shorten the scope of our theme or the title. Better replace the word or phrase in India by another phrase in AP. Then the title becomes the system of education in AP. Then your study confines to the system of education available only in the province of AP, and automatically it excludes the study in all other provinces of India. That's really very comfort. Then, if you observe the title afresh, it doesn't imply any time. Which time of the education system in AP the study is about, it's not clear. It doesn't specify whether it is the past system of education or the present system of education or both of them. What the study should account is very vague. So, to make it clear, affix the word current. Then the title becomes the current system of education in AP. Now, it automatically excludes the study about the past system of education in AP. Still, if we examine the title, there is a scope for further modification because the word current doesn't stipulate any particular time. You may consider this whole century can be current, this whole decade can be current, or a year or month can be current. So, let's have a substitute for it. A definite time indicator, for instance, a durative 1994 to 2019. Then the title becomes the system of education in AP during the period of 1994 to 2019. Friends, if we more look into the title, some other fact it doesn't state. Which system of education, whether it is the public system of education or private system of education, we have to study about, is indistinct in the title because both kind of systems are available in Andhra Pradesh. So, it is still a deficient title. To make it adequate, affix the word either public or private depending on your choice. Then the title can be the public or private system of education in AP during the period of 1994 to 2019. Okay. Now, let's see how an improper understanding of the scope can lead to adverse consequences. Let me share a real-time example. An elocution was conducted on the theme Dream India. Some 25 candidates participated, and among those, one candidate narrated in an extraordinary manner all the glorious past of India dating from the Indus Valley civilization to Gupta's period. Really, his whole explanation is very accurate. The terminology used is apt to the context. The pronunciation is of acceptable level. All the ideas are consistent and well organized. Hence, all other participants expected that he could be the winner of the competition. But the panel didn't select him. Why? Because the title Dream India implies the strategic explanation of India in times to come, how it could be in the future. But what he illustrated is the glorious past of India, which doesn't come under the theme Dream India. Hence, he was disqualified. Of course, a consolation prize was announced to encourage his talent. So, friends, it's very essential to understand the scope and significance of the title. Better prepare a mind map to visualize the landscape view of the theme. Thereafter, move to the next process, that is collecting the data. We have readily available sources today. The best one is the internet, all of us know. While pulling the data from the internet, we should be very cautious and examine to avoid fake and unauthentic information, because friends, everything that you find on the internet is not correct. So, it obliges to evaluate the sources. So, the best thing is evaluate whatever the sources that you consult. The first thing is internet. While pulling the data on the internet, evaluate the author. Who is the author of that data? And especially the author's background and expertise. And also, it is very important to consider the reputation of the publisher. See, most of the publishers, they have the facts keenly evaluated at different stages. Stages like evaluated by the editors, reviewers, peer reviewers, blind peer reviewers, double blind peer reviewers. Okay, after going through these steps only, the data is published. That's why the background and the reputation of the author and the reputation of the publisher, both are really essential to authenticate the data that you have collected. And one more point is, check whether the data is a recent one or even the more recent one or the old one or even older one. Okay, if at all it is too older, just leave that kind of data. That is a good thing. Don't try to include it because it is maybe outdated data. Only updated one, just you have to include in your theme or presentation. And later on, moreover, you may consult the other sources than the internet. The sources like scientists, professors and experts in the field concerned to gather the authentic information. And when you have collected the sufficient data, after undergoing the required evaluation of the sources, thereafter start the process of scrutiny. And the primary thing in the scrutiny is avoiding the duplication. Here, duplication means the same idea can be expressed in different words or terminology. That's why it is very tricky. Idea is one and the same, but the language is used to express it is different. That's why meticulously we have to examine the data and avoid such replication. Surely there is a chance for the replication of the same ideas in different terminology. And the latter important thing is our tendency. It is very frequent we incline to include the irrelevant matter, being attracted to the expression or the language used or the phrases used. So considering all those things, we try to include that matter in our theme. Even sometimes, even if there is no scope, we try to create some scope and try to include it. So such irrelevant matter may improve the volume of your topic, but may not its quality. Indeed, the theme should be precise. So, attempt at expressing maximum sense by using the minimum words. See your theme to be precise so that it can be very effective. So, when this procedure of scrutiny is complete, subsequently move to the most important technique, that is organizing the data. So, this organizing the data is arranging your thoughts in an order. It should have a good beginning, middle and an ending. The best clue is organize it in a diamond shape. If you observe the diamond, it has a pinpointed top, a wider middle and a sharp ending. Okay. So start with pinpointed top. There you see that a cumulative development of your theme you can include. Usually it may include a brief introduction of the theme, the purpose of your study and the usefulness of your study, and also the limitations of your study. These things you generally include. In the middle matter, means the wider middle, generally there you provide every minute detail to the possible extent and develop and discuss the points and the factors logically and analytically, and thereafter come to the last part, a sharp ending. Discerningly, a gradual decrease of the discussion and finally come to a meaningful conclusion. This meaningful conclusion may be a summary. Just you summarize all the salient features or the facts of your study. And to organize your data, many popular methods are available, and some of them I will quote: chronological method, spatial method, inductive method, deductive method, compare and contrast, cause and effective method, argumentative method, and these are the popular methods. They are surely one or a few of these methods can be useful to organize your data in an analytical and logical manner. Then your communication can be consistent and easily understandable, because the human mind can understand the matter or grasp the matter very easily when it is expressed in an order. That is the actual secret. That's why whatever the data that you have collected, arrange them in a systematic manner. And when this critical process is completed, move ahead to the next step, that is the preparation of the objectives of your presentation. Okay. Generally, the objectives are what the audience or readers are expected to learn or aware of after listening to your presentation. Okay. That's why what you have to do is share your objectives with the participants at the very beginning of your presentation, so that you can understand what they are going to learn or aware of. If they feel that they are really useful, they means your facts or the contents are really useful, they can be very attractive and enthusiastic to learn. Actually, that makes very easy to capture the attention of the participants, and you can carry it all through your presentation. I will give some example for the title what we have chosen, that is the system of education in Andhra Pradesh during the period of 1994 to 2019. For that, some model objectives I would like to share with you. See, the first, to study to what extent the existing curricula can meet the needs of the industry, to evaluate the contribution of academics to nurture the constructive attitude and behavior of the learners, to propose the essential measures to the further advancement in terms of qualitative teaching and learning. So, in this manner, you also can prepare the objectives or the outline of your topic. So, with this, my dear friends, I would like to end my presentation. So, have a nice day, stay at home, stay learning. Thank you all.